I've had the Ft-70D for a little while now, and I thought I would just show you some of the accessories, the official Yaesu accessories that are available for the radio, and then just have a quick run through the pros and cons of some of them, because there's some aspects of them that I like and some that I don't. Now, the first thing that you'll probably end up buying is the SBH28 desktop charger. Now, this is a nicely made little unit, although as you may have noticed if you've watched some of my other videos, it does have its downsides. The one downside with this is the fact that it's quite a trick to actually get the radio to sit in the charger base. It really can be quite challenging. I've heard people that say that they actually stick it down to the table to stop it moving. There's another downside to this in that it'll only charge when the radio is off. So that's something to bear in mind, but it's nonetheless still a useful thing to get. The next highly recommended thing that I suggest you go for is the SHC27 case. Now, this case isn't a leather case as you'd expect for the price. It's roughly £12 in the UK delivered, and this really does fit nicely around the radio. It has a wraparound Velcro strap at the back, and the only downside to this that I can see anyway is the fact that it doesn't allow you access to the charging or the data ports or the mic ports. Now, looking at that, with a sharp craft knife you could probably cut those sections out, but of course you will actually render the case less protected towards the environment. However, it does have some nicely embossed and logoed indents for the buttons, and I find in use it's really easy to use and it protects the radio nicely. Now, the next thing that I actually got for the radio was the speaker microphone. This is a really nicely made bit of kit, this, and I couldn't find any of my other speaker mics that I could adapt to actually use on the radio. It comes with a swivel back clip there, and it also has the inbuilt earpiece socket in the microphone as well, should you wish to run an earpiece from this microphone. Now, the audio quality, according to Mick, is very, very nice off of this. I think it's slightly more tinny than the built-in speaker on the radio, if I'm being truthful, but if you really need to have that up on the lapel for any reason, or if you're driving in particular, this is a nice little addition to the kit to have of accessories for the Ft-70D. Now, next to the Baofeng microphone, you can see here, they've obviously gone for a similar effect with the earpiece here, but you'll see that the Kenwood adapter is of no use on this radio. Now, you may be able to get an adapter to fit, but really with a lot of messing around, it was just easier and cheaper and simpler just to go and buy one. As you can see there, it works straight out of the box just fine. So moving on to the next accessory was the in-car adapter. Now, I tend to find, as most others have found, that on the Ft-70D they can be a little bit thirsty on the power consumption. Now, this will be greatly useful in the car when I'm having long conversations, because I did find the battery does run quite low. Now, one word of caution: if you're a lorry driver, you mustn't obviously use this particular adapter because it has a maximum acceptable voltage of 16 volts. But just for fun, and because I've got an adjustable power supply, we'll have a little play around to see what the minimum voltage it will accept is. It says 11, the output is 11 volts, and what the maximum voltage it will accept is, and this is the filter that they put on the packet there, which of course is just a few sections of the power cord wrapped through a ferrite, and that will obviously be used to eliminate alternator noise or any other electrical noise which you very often do pick up in cars and can be a little bit irritating. Now, the other thing that I've done there is, which I couldn't find anywhere, was to measure the size of the adapter, because if you do have a 12-volt adapter, you could always adapt it for use with this radio. And there we go. I'll pop the dimensions up on the screen there, 4 and roughly 2 mil on the inside. So what I did here was I set the power supply up as a current limiting power supply for 2 amps at 13.2 volts, and put a little adapter in line there, and just to simulate this into the dummy load. Okay, so when you first plug it in, it will charge the radio, and when you power the radio on, it's very apparent here. Look at the current drain, and remember that 0.3 amps and 4.7 watts on transmit, which is the same as you get with the batteries. So I upped the supply voltage to 16 volts just to see if we could get any more RF power out of the unit. And on transmit, we can see here that the RF power stays the same. Now, you might think there's a voltage regulator in there, but there really isn't. This is the radio doing all of the limiting there. So I removed the actual battery here and connected up the radio directly, and we could see straight away the radio powers on without the battery. So that may be useful for folks to know. And then again, when transmitting, no difference in the transmitted RF power. So I decided to check the current drain, and you can see also there the actual power saving mode the radio does switch into on receive, but you can also see that the 120 milliamps is half of what it was using before, and that's because it's not charging the battery. So on transmit again, at that voltage we were seeing 4.2 volts, so we decided to drop the voltage down to 7.2 volts and see if it worked then, and lo and behold it did. So no need to worry about your car battery running too flat. I think this will keep you covered. However, you will notice now that the power has dropped to 1.85 watts, but it's still on frequency. So even at 5.2 volts the radio powers on and does transmit. However, anything under 5 volts and the radio switches off, but that's maybe useful to know. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that quick look at the accessories here for the Yaesu Ft-70D. This is still my go-to radio here. I use it all the time, particularly in the digital modes as well. It's really great fun, and I can highly recommend this. I think for the money, I don't think there is a better handheld radio out there at the moment. It certainly packs so much in for its price that if you know of one that you think is better for that kind of money, then please let me know. If you have been, thanks ever so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.